Greetings, love warriors. Greetings, love icons. I'm so glad to be here with y'all tonight. Tonight, our topic is vibing high in uncertain times. I know you all know what I'm talking about. I know you all know what I'm talking about. Things are crazy. There's so much going on right now, and I really want us to have a focus on keeping our energy high, keeping our frequencies high, even in uncertain times. So tonight we're going to talk about this in a very real way. Um, we're not going to dance around anything tonight because it's not time for that. Now is not the time to dance around the truth. So you all, our talk tonight is going to be very heart-centered because as a collective, we are moving into a very heart-centered era spiritually, but also because the heart chakra is a battery that you can utilize to power up, to clear other chakras, right? Love heals all, right? So when you infuse your other chakras with love, you're able to um, more easily, more quickly dissipate any wounding you may have in that area. Okay. So, you all, this is so important to continue to keep your vibes high during this time because there is so much going on. And what we don't want is for the outside forces to be compounded by your inner forces, okay? The energy that you're sending out, which happens through your thoughts and your emotions, okay? So before we get any deeper into that, I want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Pangia Northstar. I am a sound therapist, a Reiki healer, a teacher, um, and so much more. And I love to teach about how to attract love energy into your life, whether that is romantic love or compassionate love, for humanity, self-love, right? We want to utilize this energy to attract the things that we do want into our life, and we want to be very intentional about that. So you all, please uh, give me a greeting as you come into the room. Greetings, Diggy Mo in Brooklyn. Greetings, Zena Electra. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys, it's so important to keep our vibrations high because, and when we say vibrations, let me be clear. When we say vibrations, we're talking about the frequency or the level of the energy signals that your thoughts and emotions are sending out into your immediate area, out into your life, affecting the happenings of your life, and out into the universe. Okay? Our thoughts and our emotions create an energetic signal that can be measured, has been measured. Okay? Science has proven this at this point. It's no longer woo woo, it's no longer something to catchphrase that somebody's saying, okay? It never has been, but now science is able to prove that, okay? So these waves of energy that we send out create an echo that comes back to us, okay? So if you spend, 3 hours feeling down, you notice, man, I just got really down at some point today. I want you to become very intentional about spending 3 hours doing things that create positive thoughts, warm and wonderful, grateful, hopeful feelings in your body. Okay? Spend time thinking on things, not thinking about what you're lacking or what it seems like you don't have, but spend time imagining how good it feels to actually have those things. Okay? So at that point, the energy signals that your mind is producing will attract the thing that matches those thoughts. Okay? So if you're having financial issues, don't spend a bunch of time thinking about, how broke you are. Spend your time thinking about the wonderful things you're going to do for yourself, for your family, for others once you have that money. Okay, once you have that abundance. Okay, because thoughts and feelings of abundance attracts abundance into your life. Okay, super important. Okay, and I know that may be basic for some of y'all that watch this channel, but I'm challenging you to stay tuned in. Okay, because not everybody really understands how this goes. And everybody is saying, oh, raise your vibration, but are we talking about how? And are we talking about how to keep your vibration high in the current state of this world? Okay. So it's super important, that we be specific now. Okay. So now, am I saying that you need to live your life in a state of delusion? No, I'm not saying that. Okay. But I am saying that I want you to become intentional about the signals that you are sending out into the universe, knowing that those signals are attracting more of the same. Okay. So it may not be possible at this time for you to be up and be cheery every moment of every day. That's a tall order. That's a lot to ask of anybody, right? But can you become more intentional about counteracting any bad signals, any negative signals, any signals of grief or lack, misery, fear, those sorts of things? Can you be intentional about counteracting that? Okay. And we're going to talk about some ways to do that, you guys. Okay. And I'm going to share some things that I like to do, some things that I have done. Okay. Some things that I've experienced from, a personal perspective to help you out tonight. Okay. So now we're going to have a story time tonight. And we're going to go over some different things that I know people are feeling right now and how we can counteract those feelings when they come up. Okay. So stay in here. Okay. Stay with us tonight, because everything that we share is going to be absolutely useful. And I know it's going to resonate with everyone. Okay. So you all, simple things that you can do. All right. I'm going to just go over some simple, really general stuff. Okay. If you're not really just into really heavy meditation and stuff like that, that's totally fine. Okay. You can spend time playing. And I remember I said, if you had 3 hours feeling down, the next day or that same day, as soon as you get yourself together, you can spend that same amount of time or however much time you can playing uplifting music, playing your favorite music, walking in your favorite park, watching a show that makes you laugh or inspires you. Okay. So even just making yourself smile, even when you don't feel like it. Okay. When you begin to smile, this sends signals to your brain that, oh, some happiness is happening, and your brain doesn't know if it's real or not, but just force yourself to smile. You can even force yourself to laugh. Okay. That is, an ancient method. There are ancient methods of meditation that consist of just smiling or just laughing because of the chemical release that happens in your body when you smile or laugh. Okay. But let's talk about some more specific stuff. Okay. So I want to start off with a big one, a really big one, which is fear. Okay. And each one of these, I'm going to give you the chakras. Okay. And the chakras, which are your energy centers in your body that this pertains to, as well as something you can do to help yourself with these emotions. Okay. So with fear, you want to focus on definitely your heart chakra. Okay. Your heart chakra. All of these are going to include the heart chakra. Okay. Because as we said, the heart chakra is a battery. Okay. Now in this case of fear, think about that. Why, when someone is brave, why is it that we say, oh, that person has heart? That person has heart. Why say that? Because fear is extinguished by love, right? And a form of love is having the bravery to act and to face situations that are scary. It could be your own fear, or it could be protecting someone that you love and acting on behalf of them, acting in their best interest, right? So if you are working on fear, you're feeling fearful, you're battling the spirit of fear, you want to focus on your heart chakra and also your root chakra. Okay, the root chakra has to do with issues of survival, security, stability. Okay, and all of those things, are being called into question by current events, right? So the root chakra has to do with thoughts of like, how am I going to survive, or am I safe? Is my is my future secure? You know, do I feel secure in my life situation? Some people deal with food insecurity. Okay, so one thing you can do when you want to talk about, if we just go like straight to the spiritual, you want to do some spirit, you want to tap into your personal magic, you can use black walnut shells, or you also see this called hull, Hull, which is just the hull of a black walnut. Okay, you can use that either in a smoke bowl. Okay, in a smoke bowl, you don't know what a smoke bowl is. See if I can pick mine up. It's smoking right now. It's hot right now. This is my smoke bowl right here. I don't know if y'all can see. It's smoking. Okay, just any type of thing that you can burn. You can burn things in. You can burn like it may be sage or different herbs that help cleanse the energy in your immediate area. Okay, cleanse the energy in the room that you're in. Right now, I have some black walnut hull burning in my smoke bowl. Okay, now black walnut banishes negative energies. It is associated with protection. Okay, protecting your energy. Okay, so you need to protect your energy, protect your peace, and restore a sense of safety. Black walnut hull is going to be it. Okay, even if someone is intentionally acting against you, okay, sending you bad energy, black walnut hull, you can either do it in a smoke bowl or you can add it to a spiritual bath. Okay, in a spiritual bath, I'm not going to go right now through all of the steps to a spiritual bath, but a spiritual bath is a bath in which you fill up the tub, you put the herbs or essential oils or whatever it is that correspond to the issue that you're working on, and you visualize that thing being worked out while you are in the tub. Okay, you can say mantras to yourself. You can do affirmations. Make it your own. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of the steps because I really want you to make it your own. Okay, make it beautiful. Okay, and then when you are done, I want you, when you pull the plug on that drain, you pull the drain and let the water go down the drain. Envision all of the negative energy going down the drain. Envision that problem being resolved. Okay, and when you speak aloud in the spiritual bath, it's also very important that you only speak the things you do want to see happen. Okay, because that water is going to reflect that energy back to you and amplify that energy. Okay, so only speak aloud what you do want to see happen. Don't speak aloud what you don't want in a spiritual bath. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about the spiritual bath. But anyway, very empowering, very comforting. Okay, another thing you can do is think on you can also remind yourself, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time doing this, but just remind yourself of a time that you may have backed out of something or backed away from something, ran from something because you were afraid. There was an opportunity you had that you really wanted, but maybe you backed away from it because you were afraid. Chances are you still regret that, right? Chances are you still wish or you still wonder what would have happened if you would have dared to follow your dream at that time, right? I wouldn't spend too much time on that one, but it's just a good reminder. Okay, what I would spend a lot of time on is remembering the time that you were fearful and faced it. Okay, and how rewarding it was when you faced that fear. You can also think on, and this is a big one. This is a big one. Okay, think of a situation. This is not the first time you've ever been scared in your life. This is not the first time you've been afraid of whatever it is that's concerning you right now. Okay? We've all faced hard times before. Think of a time when you were fearful and you faced that fear and it worked out. Think of a time when you faced something and you prayed, you meditated on it, whatever your practice was at the time, and your divine guidance got you through that situation, got you out of that situation. Somehow it worked out miraculously. Okay? Think of a time when you were facing something that was just, so terrifying to you, had you really stressed out, but you survived it somehow. Okay? And at this time, it's very important that you don't play it small. Don't give in to forces that are trying to make you feel powerless and helpless. Okay? Don't ignore the encouragement or the instructions that you receive in your prayer time or meditation. Revelations that you have when you are journaling. I'm going to give a big example. We're going to do a big story time right now, really quick, okay? Back in 2007, okay, this was a very long time ago now. It's one of the biggest things that ever happened for me, where I knew I had gotten instruction in a prayer and I followed it, and it literally saved my life. Okay, literally saved my life. All right. So back in 2007, I was married to a man who had, I loved him dearly, but he had become mentally ill. Okay, I'm gonna keep the story short as possible. Long story short, he became mentally ill and became abusive during the course of our marriage. Okay. Now, one day I was working. Okay. I was working in a salon. Okay. And he calls me and he says, bring me my daughter. Bring my daughter to me. Now, at this time in my life, whenever he asked me to bring his daughter to visit him, I would do it. Even if I was busy or I was working, I was just not standing in my power. Long story short, I was not standing in my power. Okay. So I would buckle and bring her anytime he wanted to see her. Because even though we were separated at the time, he was still a part of her life and still a part of supporting us financially. Okay. He did not drive, so he would call me and say, bring me my daughter, and I would do it. Okay. This particular day when he said, bring me my daughter, I said no for the first time ever. I said no. The reason I had said no is because a week or two before we had had a horrible fight. And as I was driving away from that fight, I was crying, I was praying, and I was just saying, God, please help me get away from this man. Please help me to be able to support myself, because I do not want to stay dependent on this man who is abusive to me. Okay. And in that prayer, when I prayed that prayer, in my heart, I received instructions. Okay. I felt my divine guidance speaking back to me. Now, I don't, audibly hear things. I'm not that type of person, but I feel a knowing in my heart. The knowing that I felt in my heart said, focus on your business. Focus on building your business. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Focus on building your business. Okay. And I was like, okay, all right, that's what I'm going to do. So this was not long after I prayed that prayer, a week or so later. He calls me while I'm working and says, bring me my daughter. I say no. Okay. The very next words out of his mouth was, tell my children I love them. I am about to kill myself. Okay. That's what he said to me. Okay. I'm not going to go through the whole details. We don't have very long. Okay. But long story short, he did. Unfortunately, he took his own life that day. Okay. And had I had brought my daughter over there to him, our daughter over there to him, so many things could have happened. That could have went even worse than it did. My life could have been in danger. I don't know that he would have hurt our daughter, but she definitely could have lost both her parents and been horribly traumatized. So many things could have went wrong, right? But because I followed my divine guidance, even though I was scared about my financial situation, I was, very vulnerable at that time and didn't understand what was going on in my life. Following my divine guidance that day, I believe saved my life, because this was a man that had threatened me many, many, many times. He had told me that he was going to kill me and kill himself. So don't ignore the encouragement or the instructions that you get in your prayer time, in your meditation time. Okay? This is very, very important. This is your cosmic connection. This is your protection. Okay? Your money is not your protection. Money is one of the tools the creator is using to protect you from certain things. But your divine guidance is your ultimate protection. Okay? So let's stay in tune with that and keep that in mind. Okay? That was fear, you guys. Fear. We talked about fear. Thank you for all the love in the chat. It was many, many years ago. And I'm so grateful to be healed from all of the pain and the trauma that caused in our lives. Sadness. Sadness is the next one. Okay? Sadness is the next one. I see that comment, Zena. That's right. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about sadness. Okay? When you are battling sadness, yes, we're going to tap into our heart chakra. Okay? We're going to practice some self-love. We're going to practice some self-soothing and comforting. And, focus on your heart chakra, which is right in the center of your heart. You want to imagine the green light, the big, beautiful green light of the heart center. Also tap into your sacral. Okay? Sadness requires self-love, self-acceptance, right? One thing you can say to yourself that's very helpful: I love and accept myself even when I am sad. I love and accept myself even when I'm sad. Okay? The sacral chakra very much resonates with self-acceptance. Okay? And it's also your a source of ancestral connection. Okay? So when we tap into our ancestral energies, we're reminded again that we are not alone. Okay? And many, many people, greetings, Blue Lotus, many, many people are sad right now because they feel lonely. They feel separated. And loneliness has been a huge epidemic especially since the pandemic, right? The pandemonium isolated people from each other, and many people have not recovered from this, okay? And I'll also say that this thing we're going through right now is the same energy of the pandemic, if you pay attention. The same energy is here. Has anybody else noticed that? Think of the energy of the pandemic without the lockdown. Can y'all feel that? Yes. Y'all feel that in the air, right? This is the same thing. Fear, we're keeping you scared up, you know, we're keeping you mentally locked down through all of the fear tactics in the news media, hitting you from this angle. Oh, it's your finances. Oh, it's your physical safety. Oh, it's your job. Oh, people are getting snatched off the streets and sent away. All these different things happening. It's the same energy, the same pandemonium that we had going on in the pandemic. Yes, Zena, it feels like the Twilight Zone. So everything's here except the physical lockdown. This is the same energy. If you're sensitive, you feel it. Okay? So widespread fear and collective trauma. Okay? So tap into that heart chakra and that sacral chakra, reminding yourself to love and accept yourself no matter what. Okay? Also that you are not alone. The herb you can use, you can either drink as a tea or a smoke bowl. Again, if you weren't here earlier when I showed my smoke bowl, this is my smoke bowl. It's smoking right now. It's smoking hot. Woo. You can do it in a smoke bowl or a tea. You're going to use motherwort. Motherwort. Okay, this is a herb. Motherwort. Okay, motherwort represents the love of the mother, Mother Gaia. Okay, it's very soothing. Okay, and when you need to call upon the love of the mother, the divine feminine within yourself, the divine feminine energy of the earth, Mother Gaia, the earth mother, use that motherwort. Make you some motherwort tea or put you some motherwort in your smoke bowl, okay? And call upon that energy of divine love, that comfort. Think of the comfort that a mother gives her little baby, right? The baby feels ideally, there's no safer place for a baby than in the womb of the mother or in the arms of the mother. Okay? So, and also for those who need to work on, your energetic associations with motherly energy, if you have some, wounding there surrounding your mother, also utilize motherwort. Okay? If this is fire, give me some fire in the chat. If you've already heard something that you didn't know, or if we've already talked about some emotions that have been, looming lately, give me some fire in the chat. Let me know what emotions have been looming for you all. Okay, and if it's not something I'm already planning to address here, then we can address it. Okay. All right. Thank you for the fire in the chat. Okay. So the next one, the other thing I want to say about sadness too, you guys, some of us are really tough cookies. Some of us are really tough cookies, and we have a tendency to hold back our emotions and hold back our tears when we feel sad. Now it's not the time for that. Now it's not the time for that. Okay? And here's why. If you let it come, it will go. Emotions are like waves. It's like the tide. If you let it roll in, it will go. It will. Trust. Trust that it will, if it comes, it will go. Okay. Yes, I see that note, Blue Lotus. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Thank you. So what you resist persists. Okay, so if you resist allowing yourself to cry, you're gonna stay sad. Okay, and listen, I know y'all don't expect to hear that on a channel that's all about, keeping your vibes high. But nobody, I mean, this spiritual journey, this healing journey, is not bubblegum and raindrops and rainbows and lollipops 24/7. That's not real. That is not real. That is not real. Y'all have learned that when I need to cry, I let myself cry now. I used to have a real problem with that. Okay. And was not in touch with my emotions. But I now allow myself to cry because I have found that I can watch my emotions rise and fall. Okay. And that I used to think that, oh, if I start crying, I'll never stop. That's not the case at all. Okay. So love and accept yourself even when you're crying, even when you want to cry. Okay. Because if you don't cry on the outside, you're going to cry on the inside. Hello, somebody. Have you ever felt like you were crying on the inside? Give me some fire in the chat if you have. Okay. But acceptance is what we need to drop into. Okay. The opposite of resistance is acceptance. Okay. So when you're denying that you're sad and stuffing your feelings down, you're in resistance. But when you let those tears flow, you're in acceptance. Okay. And listen to this, guys. Listen closely. Acceptance of what is. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. You have to condone the craziness. I'm just saying accept that it's true. Okay. Acceptance of what is opens a space in which the answers will appear. Ooh, let me say that again. Acceptance of what is opens a space inside of you, in your heart and in your mind, in which the answers will appear. If that resonates with you, give me some fire in the chat. If you felt that in your heart and you know that's true, give me some fire in the chat. We have to drop into acceptance, you all. Okay. Now, self-doubt. Okay. Self-doubt. Okay. We had a request in the comments to talk about self-doubt. Okay. Self-doubt, I want to also add to this confusion. Okay. Because self-doubt is often accompanied by confusion. All right. If you are doubting yourself about something, there must be something that you want to do, that you desire to bring into your life, or you desire to achieve or accomplish, but you feel like, I'm not sure if I can accomplish that. That's a source of confusion. Like, why would this desire come up in my heart, or why would the need for this come into my life if I'm not capable of accomplishing this? Okay. And doubting yourself is powerful as you are. As powerful as you are. That is confusion. That's a state of confusion. It's not recognizing who you are. Not recognizing that you are an infinite wave of energy. An infinite wave of potential. An infinite wave of power. If you're doubting yourself, you're confused about your true capabilities. Okay? The desire for that thing, the requirement, I don't want to use the word need, the requirement of that thing or that accomplishment or that new circumstance coming into your field, into your energy field, is the proof that you can do it. I'm talking to somebody. I'm talking to somebody directly. The fact that it even came up for you is the proof that you can do it. You can have it. You are that. Okay? So I want you to drop into your heart space. Very heart centered. Everything is going to be heart centered today. We're in a heart centered era. Love heals all. Okay? Drop into your heart space and your solar plexus. Okay? So your solar plexus chakra is just above, it's above the navel but below the sternum. Okay? This is in our digestive, what we call our stomach. Okay? Now, the organs associated with the solar plexus is also the digestive system. So we'll get into that too. Okay. But I want you to, the physical thing I want you to do, and listen, people, I'm giving you something energetic. So something has to do with your thoughts and your feelings, but I'm also giving you something physical to do with each one of them. And you may be like, well, why is she talking about burning herbs or drinking teas? Listen, when you're working your magic, when you're tapping into your personal power, your ability to affect your life situation, as above, so below, as within, so without. So you want to create something physical that is the representation of what you're doing energetically, of what you're creating energetically, okay? You want to create a physical representation. Always have a physical representation of what you're creating energetically. We're talking about some deep manifestation techniques tonight, okay? We're talking about vibing high in uncertain times, okay? Give me some fire in the chat if this is making sense to y'all. If this is resonating, give me some fire in the chat, okay? So your physical thing for self-doubt and confusion is sunlight, okay? The first thing I'm giving you is sunlight, okay? Soak up some sun. Why? Because that powers up your solar plexus chakra. One of the other organs that is ruled by your solar plexus chakra is the organ, your solar plexus. Okay? Plexus means center. The solar plexus, the organ called solar plexus, is a nerve center. It is also where your body stores the energy that you receive from the light of the sun. It is a major center of the storage of the energy that you receive from the light of the sun. Give me some fire in the chat if you didn't know that. Don't sit there and act like you knew that. If you didn't know, give me some fire in the chat. Create a physical representation right now in the comments of how much that resonates with you. Give me some fire in the chat. Fire is also associated with the solar plexus chakra. So one thing I want you to do is get you some sunlight, okay? The other thing I want you to do is not as easy, but it's definitely doable and definitely useful. I want you to work on balancing your gut. If you want to do that very simply, get some probiotics and prebiotics. You can do that by just drinking some kombucha, or you can get you some supplements, okay? You can change your diet to decrease the amount of sugar, the amount of meat, the amount of dairy, okay? But begin to balance your gut microbiome. Why? Because your gut is your second brain. And when your gut is housing parasites, even something as simple as an overgrowth of a yeast, those parasites are sentient beings. Okay? Those parasites produce waste, chemical waste that affects your thought processes. This is why yeast or candida creates more cravings for sugar. If you've ever had a sugar problem, think about how strong that craving for sugar is. People will get up in the middle of the night and go get something sweet. And it doesn't matter if they have to go to the refrigerator or go to the store. Come, listen. Somebody give me some fire in the chat if you know that's true. Your sugar cravings are some of the strongest cravings you can have. Sugar is more addictive than cigarettes. Did y'all know that? A study came out that proved it years ago. Sugar's a drug, okay? But it's that overgrowth of yeast in your stomach created by sugar that affects your thought processes. That craving for sugar is just a thought process that we know about. It also makes it very difficult for you to be disciplined in other areas of your life. Remember earlier when I told my story and I was talking about I followed the instructions and encouragement I received through prayer? It's very difficult to do that when your gut is overloaded with yeast. Your willpower, your self-discipline is very weak, okay? It's not just cravings for sugar. It's other areas of your life, okay? Yes, I see the confirmations in the chat, okay? So now, that's what you're gonna do physically. What are the energetics of this? Okay, what are the thoughts and the emotions that you should be holding? Okay, let's take ourselves back to what do you know to be true? What do you know to be true about yourself, about life? Reflecting on your past experiences. Okay, what was true before you started doubting yourself? What was true about you? What was always true? What did you know in your gut? Guys, we got to connect the dots. Gut instincts. Why do we talk about your gut when we're talking about instincts? That's the solar plexus energy. That's one of the areas where we are receiving our divine guidance. We must clean up our guts. So you can follow that gut instinct. Okay, so you can receive that gut instinct. Gut, the word gut holds the same vibration as the word God. And if you trace back the word gut, you're going to find the word God. Your gut instinct is a message, is divine guidance from source creator God. Okay? We gotta connect these dots, y'all. Okay, what has always rang true for you, self-doubter? What has always rang true for you? What are your core values that you need to revisit when you fall into confusion? What is the truth of who you are? For me, one of my truths is that I have never liked working for anybody else. I never met a job that I liked. That's me. It doesn't mean that I'm lazy. That ain't it at all. I have plenty hustle about myself, but it does mean that I have to stay self-employed. I feel very limited. I feel very uncomfortable. I feel boxed in when I have to work for someone else. I feel like someone else is pulling my strings. Someone else is determining my destiny when I work for someone else. That doesn't work for me. That's always been true. So how I'm laughing at the comments in the chat. But so even though things look crazy right now, times are very uncertain, very uncertain, very uncertain. Do I need to go get a job and go punch somebody's clock? I'm not going to do it. Because if I do, I'm going to find myself anxious and depressed. Okay? Might I pick up an extra hustle? Sure. Might I add new clients? Might I go after new clients? Sure. Might I offer the clients I already have extra services? Sure, absolutely. But am I going to, for me, to the level to which this is for me, it would be a betrayal of myself to go get a job right now. That's what it is for me. It's not the same for everybody. Plenty of people are entrepreneurial, they work a job and they have their things that they do as an entrepreneur. That's fine for them. But I know me, that's always been true for me. Okay? Now, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know for our questioner about self-doubt if that was helpful. Okay? But based on your decisions and what creates peace and harmony for you, I want you to revisit those thoughts, okay? And practice really strong self-love because you need to make decisions based on what is good for you, what is true for you, okay? Heart and solar plexus. Now, the other thing, last thing I want to mention on that one too, is the third eye chakra, okay? There's a very strong linkage between the solar plexus and the third eye. Okay, we've already talked about that divine guidance that comes through your gut instincts, your gut feelings, right? But we also know a huge source of divine guidance, huge, huge, is the third eye. Okay, now an herb to stimulate the third eye would be mugwort. Mugwort. You can do mugwort in a smoke bowl. Okay, it improves psychic abilities, helps you to see beyond the veil, to connect with other energies beyond the veil, pierces the veil. Do not ingest mugwort if you are pregnant. Okay, I just mentioned smoke bowl, but you can also do it as a tea. Do not drink or ingest mugwort in any way if you are pregnant and desire to complete that pregnancy because it can cause a miscarriage, okay? Think about it. The energy of the mugwort herb is to pierce the other side of the veil. You don't need to be piercing no veils physically when you're pregnant because that pregnancy is on the other side of the veil. I'm just saying, okay? It's a true fact. Look it up, okay? But mugwort also kills parasites. You guys, the linkages are here. We got to use what we know. We got to connect these dots, okay? Mugwort increases your ability to connect to your divine guidance and kills parasites. Why? Because parasites interfere with your divine guidance. We just talked about that, okay? So mugwort is often included in detox tea, like the herbal blends, okay? Another good one is wormwood. Wormwood. You do hear about wormwood a lot when it comes to killing parasites, but you don't hear about a lot in increasing your psychic abilities, but it will because it kills the parasites. Okay, let's connect those dots. Thank you, Diggy Mel. I'm so glad you're here tonight. All right, so these things increase your mental clarity, right? We also mentioned psychic abilities, but also your mental clarity because you're cleaning up that gut, okay? Cleaning up that gut, which is going to also help you to utilize visualizations. The energetics that I want to mention here with the third eye, the mugwort and the wormwood, the energetic side of that was physical. The energetics is going to be utilizing visualizations to tap into the quantum field. What am I saying? I'm saying visualize your highest timeline. Envision the way you want your life to look. Get wild with it. Get wild with it. This is inside your own mind. Too many of us are afraid to dream and to imagine, even inside our own mind. You become your own mental police. You're afraid. We're afraid. I've been there. I'm practicing more and more with it all the time. Don't be afraid to imagine your most beautiful life. Spend time with that story in your mind. Journal about it. Write it out, even. When you feel brave enough, write it down. Create a story that says, I am now on my yacht. I am now living in Belize. I am now a millionaire. I now have the family I've always wanted. I now have the divine partner I've always wanted. It's going to help you to create the emotions when you're flowing with your imagination, because now we're talking about imagination, not just intuition. We always associate intuition with the third eye, but what about your imagination? It's the other side of that third eye energy. Use your imagination to raise your vibration. Create a mental escape for yourself. And those thoughts and those emotions will send out the energetic signals that will attract those things to you. I want you to be intentional about this. I want you to set aside time in your life for this. Make it important, because it is important. Okay? The last thing I want to mention is overwhelm. Okay? If you're feeling overwhelmed, let's do some ashwagandha. I highly recommend that you ingest ashwagandha. You can burn it if you want to, but it's expensive. I'm telling you now. I've yet to burn some ashwagandha. I love a good smoke bowl, but I have not burned any ashwagandha. It could be a little pricey depending on how you get it, okay? But don't let that scare you, okay? Because you can buy things that work for you in bulk, okay? But I love ashwagandha. Here's why. The beautiful thing about things that come from the earth is that they're what's called adaptogenic, meaning your body takes from it what it needs. So with ashwagandha, if you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, it will calm you down. In addition to that, if you have low energy, which anxiety and overwhelm also causes, low energy, sluggishness, ashwagandha will give you energy. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? How does the same thing both calm you down and give you energy? I mean, I find that amazing. If you find that amazing, give me some fire in the chat. I find that amazing. And we're talking about manufactured drugs. It's going to bring you up, snatch you down. 1 to 2. It's going to snatch you up or throw you down. 1 or 2, but it's not going to do both. All right? But that is the beauty of nature, right? Give me some fire in the chat if you also find that amazing. Okay? But ashwagandha is what I would recommend for overwhelm. That's what you're going to do physically. Energetically, I want you to bring yourself back to the present moment. Remind yourself that I am safe right now. I am capable right now. I am calm right now. Right now, in this moment, I have what I need. Okay? And follow the breath. Pay attention to your breath. Listen to the way you're breathing. Slow down your breathing. I want you to breathe in. You can breathe in for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 6. So you want to breathe out slightly more than you're breathing in. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm just giving you the most simple way to calm yourself down. Okay? And you can also look up many other breathing techniques to calm yourself down. Okay? But just bring yourself back to right now, in this moment. I'm safe. I am secure. Right now, I have the things that I need for this moment. Okay? And do that anytime you need to. Don't allow yourself to go worrying about the future and reflecting on negative things from the past that scared you. Okay? Now, if anybody else I do want to thank you guys for the comments, the encouragement, the requests in the chat. If there's any more super quick questions, I would take that question now. Um, and I also want to inform everybody that we have a sound bath, a virtual sound bath event. It's a 3-part series coming up. Now this one is for women. I will be doing events that are for everybody. This one is for women. This is for adult daughters of narcissistic mothers. Okay, so if you're an adult and you were raised by a narcissistic mother, this is for you. Okay, we have a 3-part series. It's a virtual event where we're going to be doing discussion um, about, what it's like being raised by a narcissistic mother and how that can affect you, even well into adulthood, okay, and how to dissipate, how to balance some of those energies, okay. So you can find the link on Eventbrite, and I'm gonna attach the link here in the comments, okay. It's 3 Saturdays, okay. So starting with July 19th, it's 3 consecutive Saturdays, okay. So I don't see any more comments or questions rather coming in through the comments. So we're going to go ahead and end tonight. I thank y'all so much for this time. I love the interaction. I love being able to connect with you all. I love being able to answer your questions and feel into your energy. Please join us again. We're here most Tuesday nights. Sometimes every now and then I have something come up and I can't do it, but most Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. Central, we are here. The name of this segment is Attracting Love Energy. And that is what we're doing, right? We're attracting love into our lives to help us manifest the life that we desire. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight and participating. And all right. Peace, love, and light, you guys.